morning, everyone. While we are waiting to start, you can also be sharing your expectations. Hassan is looking forward to learn clue on how to make applications stand out, and George is looking forward to learning more about getting fully funded PhD scholarship, and Salma is joining from Lagos as well. What's Salma? Sharibu, Sha- Habibu. Sorry if I spoil your name. Forgive me. Hoping to learn on how to win a Chieftain scholarship. All of you are welcome. Please keep dropping your expectations while the programs.
Okay, so we begin officially. Okay, yep, I'll give you a short story, and I think that will be my opening. And this is to encourage you. A few years ago, I was really interested in actually going to study abroad. But of course, if you're not extremely rich, it's very difficult. It's very expensive. But that is one of the gateway to break through um, wherever career you're trying to go, because getting quality education is important. What helped me was attending such kind of sessions, trainings, asking questions, and consistent applications. Eventually, it moved from failures to winning a lot of opportunities. And 2024, I was privileged to win the Chevening and Erasmus, and it was a beautiful problem because I had to choose one. And 2 years now, I just completed my studies, and I said to myself, so many people have reached out from Nigeria, India, Pakistan, so many countries. I noticed it was mostly a developing country issue. Um, and people had beautiful profiles, but how to communicate their stories, how to write the impact was just what was making them not get the opportunities. And so one of my commitment was immediately I was done with my program, I'm going to comply all of my experiences that I think helped me, all of what I've learned from others as well to share for you. So we're going to have this online session, and this is basically free. We have also an in-person session for those who will be privileged to attend in Abuja. So I want you to know that this is a journey, and for you to be on this call, that is one significant milestone you have made in your scholarship journey. It's not impossible. You would get all these goals you have mentioned on the chat box. My name is Aliyu Sadiq once again. Okay, I just gave a quick intro about myself. Um, Erasmus and serving in 2024, which was like a breakthrough for me because before then I've applied a lot and I failed a lot. But of course, when you finally get the yes, a lot of people say once you get the one yes, it doesn't matter how many you have applied for in the past. All of those experiences matter. So it's those experiences that you gather that eventually make you understand the whole logic about what was missing in your application. And this session is going to be um can you just mute so that we can move without much distractions. Yeah, so that is just a quick summary about myself. I'm also an environmentalist, and also I lead an environmental organization in Nigeria. But most importantly, I love to help young people achieve their purpose, and I believe that we can always do this wherever capacity we find ourselves. Just to put you through, because I've looked at the demography of people who have applied to join for this online session. We have the category of those who just want to begin and understand how to go. And we also have the category of those who have already applied but want to know what is missing. So I have made this masterclass in such a flow that it brings everyone to find it useful. We're going to begin with the basics, but just pay attention that as we move, we would expand, we will go deeper, and you will get more technicalities. So in the beginning, don't feel like it's just basic things. It is to capture everybody, but just stay tuned as we move. You would see that it goes deeper. And if you're just beginning for your scholarship journey, also pay attention that we're going to go into more technical details that you need to just follow. The good thing is we would record this and we would also try to get it out. So grab as much as you can, take as much jotting as you can. You're privileged to be on the call. I'm really happy to have you. But also you can have access to the resource afterwards. So we're going to go through significance of winning a scholarship. Why is it? Because sometimes people feel like it's not important. What kind of scholarships are actually handy for you to pursue, for you to like focus on as your first low-hanging fruits? What mindset do scholarship selection committees have? What are they looking for? Who is their ideal candidate? How do you position yourself to be the ideal candidate of those who are given these scholarships for free? Don't forget. Scholarship preparation tips. What do you need to put in place even before the call for application starts? Application requirements for the scholarships. What are needed for each of these applications? And then most importantly, we're not going to go into details because one of the most important part of a scholarship is you will do a lot of writing. It's more of you have to do a lot of essay. If it's motivation letter or statement of purpose or CV, all of these are writing, but in different forms, in different contexts. That is what we're going to also discuss, how to kind of position your writing very structurally. I told you that a lot of people I've seen very brilliant, very outstanding profiles, but because the writing format and the writing flow is not aligning with how it should, they miss out on these opportunities. And then we're going to go into a good SOP, a good statement of purpose, which is basically the essay for your scholarship application. And lastly, we would also discuss a CV structure, how your CV should be, what you should put into consideration when writing your CV. If we have more time, we can talk quickly about recommendation letters. So let's begin. Why do you want a scholarship? For me, I will tell you, when I started applying for scholarships in 2022, 21, 22, for me, I felt I was limited in terms of the knowledge I've acquired, and I thought that I could do more if I go out there, study with everyone else in the world, with some of the most, intellectual people, some of the most smartest, and brilliant people. I believe it would widen my horizon and make me more efficient and productive in the work that I do. And so, why not? Only one limitation. Of course, the funding and scholarships are free. So, this is basically giving me the bridge to where I want to go. I need the knowledge, I need the network, I need the resources. But for you, I'm also dropping your question. Why do you want a scholarship? The reason I'm asking this question is because if you do not have a why, you would get tired, you would give up. The reason I say you will give up is because scholarship application is tedious. It's difficult. But if you have a strong purpose, why you want to apply for a scholarship, I mean, not just to Jabba, that should be the least in your why. It should be something solid. It should be something that makes you wake up at night. So please think about this and try to write this why, maybe in any jotter you have or in your phone or in your diary. That will help you and keep you firm in the journey. Okay, quick ones. A scholarship could give you access to some of the best universities in the world for free. I would never have thought of, going to study in universities like the University of Manchester, some of the top in UK, and going to study in other universities across Europe, thanks to scholarships. You study for free. You don't have to bother about, I have to work and pay, I have to struggle, I have to, sell all of my family properties. I'm telling you all of this because you need to put in the energy. And for you to put in the energy, you know that it is worth it. It is worth it. You can build strong global network, pathway to success, and it helps for your mindset transformation. I know everybody who goes through very detailed and rigorous scholarships, whenever they are done, they are totally different. And you would testify me that once you get one, and I believe a lot of people would get scholarships from this call. So some of the few masters scholarships that are very, very notable, uh, Erasmus Mundus, and this is a very popular one. It's funded by the European Union. Every year, um, over 70 to 100 Nigerians get access to these scholarships to study different programs. The good thing about Erasmus Mundus is that irrespective of your field of study, irrespective of your field of study, you can find a course that tailors to your field. So that is a very big advantage. For me, I was an Erasmus Mundus scholar. I got a Master's in Environmental Science, Policy and Management, MESPOM. But there are a lot of others, whether you're from social science, engineering, medical, health, education, linguistics, whatever. All you need to is look for the suitable program that aligns with your background. That is your undergraduate studies and whatever professional experience you have. So it's very important. Um, Another scholarship that I think is very handy, I think a lot of people have mentioned that, is the Chevening. And the next slide I'm going to show you is the calibration of all of these scholarships. So it's not just about, I want to apply for this, I want to apply for that. They all have what they are looking for. And interestingly, their criteria are different. And that's what I will show you in the next slide. So if you're applying for Erasmus, you need to know, what is Erasmus looking for? Do I fit in? If you are like applying for Chevening, you need to know, who are they looking for? Do you fit in? So you don't kind of put your energy in the wrong place. You focus your energy on where you can get much more return on investment, and because your profile matches that scholarship. That's why I kind of intentionally want to discuss all of this. These are the major ones, but of course there are a lot of scholarships, everywhere. PTDF. For those who have been mentioning PhDs and also masters, there's the PTDF, Petroleum Trust Fund Scholarship. It's funded by the Nigerian federal government, but I know of a lot of people that have benefited from this. This is also one that is handy that a lot of people get that you can also focus on. The next is Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. This is also funded by the UK government. And my next slide, like I said, I'm going to show you what the major focus are for these people given the money. Mastercard scholarship and also the DAD scholarship. Now, every scholarship, like I mentioned just now, has a focus. If you have had any leadership experience, you have been doing community work. I mean, I don't mean you must be the one that ran from Nigeria to America to raise money. But of course, even if it's a little cleanup, a little teaching, a little volunteering, something here, something there, those are all, they show your commitment to community development. If you're somebody like that, if you're someone who has involved in, even in your workplace, you have shown leadership, Mr. Ben, who helped us to fix this, um, what's it called? This Zoom today has shown a lot of leadership. He's someone who can go for Chevening scholarship. Those are the kind of people they are looking for. People that can take responsibility, people that show potentials, people that show strong networking skills. And how do you know if you fit in? We're going to discuss this also in the next, I think the next few slides, where you need to audit yourself, your skills, your potentials, what you've done in the past, and then you can now know, okay, this one, I am a strong candidate here. You know why I said that is so you don't waste your energy in the ones that you're not a good fit. We all have what we're a good fit for and what we're not a good fit for. But of course, if it is something you want, but you're not yet a good fit, is also a call, a wake-up call for you to say, what do they need? How can I begin to do those things so that by next year, I have now gathered the profile to now fit in? So it's not just that because you don't fit in, you automatically put red strike. It is that if you fit in perfectly, well, go for it. If you don't fit in, choose for the one that you're aligned with. But even if you don't fit in, but you want it, Mr. Joshua Kadesh, please, in case network messes me up, please just bring my attention so that I can just know I'm speaking and everybody can hear me. But even if you don't fit in, you can now say, okay, what do I need to start doing now? Do I need to begin to volunteer? Do I need to, so that you can have those profiles and then set it. So just see it like you want to build. What materials do I need? Can I start gathering them now, ahead of next year, ahead of the next application? That is how you should think. Erasmus Mundus, the one I mentioned. I was privileged, like I mentioned, to get Chevening and Erasmus. Why? Because I fit in for them. I had the requirements. So when I applied, it just came perfectly. But of course, I had to put in the work. So Erasmus Mundus, you need to have very strong academic performance in your undergraduates. It's something that. So I'll give a typical example for Chevening. Even if you have third class, it doesn't matter, so long as you have good leadership. For Erasmus, you should have at least 2-1. That's second class upper. So all of these things, you need to weigh them. Program fit. How does the program you're applying for aligns with the program or scholarship you want to go for? Not like you study geography and you want to go and study health sciences. What is the relationship? Maybe none. For those joining, my name is Aliyu Sadiq. I mentioned earlier that we're going to begin with some of these basics for the purpose of those who this is their first time in enrolling into scholarship journey. But in the middle, which is the next couple of slides, we're going to go into the more technical ways of your essay. So stay tuned. Don't think that I know all this one, I don't need it. We're going in. So just be patient. For Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, they also deal a lot with academic merits. You need to show your
I think you're
development.
muted. Okay.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Couldn't
Yeah.
hear you for a while.
Okay. Where did you lose me, please?
Just a few seconds, though.
Okay. So Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, they're also interested in academic merits, development impact, relevant study plan. So like I mentioned, you need to have some volunteering experience. You need to show some good academic performance in the past, and you need to show some connection with what you want to do with what you've done in the past. It mustn't be your academics. It could be that you work in a tech company now and you want to go and study something about AI. That works a lot. So, that's basically what it means. And also showing that even when you study, you're going to show good application of what you've learned to supporting development. So PTDF, also on academic merits, even though it's a Nigerian scholarship. So, I shouldn't say all of everything. Professional and academic background, you need to have a blend of both, and industry experience is also important. But again, you need to connect it with the sponsors. It's PTDF, don't forget petroleum. And so you're trying to see whatever you're doing, you're linking it to the petroleum sector. I think when I was applying for PTDF, I'm an environmentalist, by study, by practice, by profession. But of course, the PTDF, so I needed to look at the environmental remediation part of oil, oil spills. So you need to look at the angle to connect. You won't just come and tell them I'm a financial accountant, so I'm applying for PTDF because I want to be, work in CBN. How will they fund you? That's the point I want you to get. You need to connect them. Mastercard, academic excellence, leadership. You need to show your resilience. They want to see that your personal story that shows how you have been consistent and committed, despite the fact that you come from an underprivileged or a developing country with lots of challenges. So they want to see people like this projecting. So you project your story very well. The DAD scholarship, I think it's particularly for the German government. So you go to Germany to study. Now, that is by the way. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Yep. Now, so many a times we jump from, I want to apply for scholarships. So many people reach out to me in January, and then they don't reach out again until when the application is open. And then that's when they are running hectare scatter. Where do I start from? But let me tell you something. Application of scholarship begins even the call opens. Why do I say so? There are a lot of things you need to start. It is like, have you seen an architect designing a structure? They don't rush because every single detail matters in the final outcome of the design. I want you to have the mindset, such mindset. If you review or begin to write your essay early and you look at it every single day, I personally did that. You look at your essay every single day, you will see something that you will need to add or remove. Now, all those simple things that you add, remove, maybe I should put this sentence before this one. Maybe I should take this one down. Maybe this one doesn't matter. It helps because it is just 2 minutes, maybe less than, that will decide whether you should be given the scholarship or not. You want those 2 minutes to be the best of you. And for it to be the best of you, you need to put in a lot of effort. So these are quick tips. You need to plan even before the application windows open. Interestingly, fortunately and unfortunately, fortunately is that the next set of scholarships will be opening from September, October. In fact, Chevening is already open. Why I say fortunately and unfortunately is that fortunately you're on this call before you apply. Unfortunately is that it has already opened. Maybe you might have not prepared very well for those who have not started preparing. For those who have started, congratulations in advance. You need to read through application page thoroughly. I know we have the mentality that, especially people from Africa, that we don't like to read too much. Application is up. What's the requirement? You just copy it and say this is what they want. Or you just carry that your last year's essay and you just paste. I'm telling you this based on experience. I'm telling you this based on experience. And pay careful attention. It is very important to read through the entire application page. I mean, every button you see in that application page, even if it's alumni story, read it. Read the profile. Even read about the scholarship. You know why? You're trying to understand their mindsets. You're trying to understand what they are interested in. You're trying to understand what is that thing that they are freaking about. Every scholarship has that. And I'll give you an example. If you go to a scholarship profile, you just read through and maybe you just see one page that they are saying our activities, which is not even part of the scholarship application. And you just click on our activities. Now it takes you to the university website. You click, you see the university website, and then you see their community activities. And you see that they are doing some, let's say, they are doing some disability support initiatives. Don't just think it's something you should overlook. Write it down. Now, when you come back to write your own essay, look at what are those things that they are passionate about. For example, you have marked disability support that they are doing. For them to be supporting disability initiative, it means that they are passionate. Maybe it's part of their core values, inclusion. You did not know. You now go and be writing plenty essay because you have first class. Somebody that has second class will now come and sit down and say, okay, these people are interested in disability. I have volunteered 2 years ago in one disability outreach that we went to give them, let's say, wheelchairs, and you add it down. Do you know, distinguished participant on the call, they might give that person that scholarship just because of that thing that person put. And you that have first class, you be like, wow, I have first class, and they didn't give me. And this person, I'm even better than this person, and they gave that person. The person did their homework. You did not do your homework. You were washed away by your first class. The point I'm making is pay attention and jot down. We're going to go to that, how you can actually move from step to step, what you do. So all of these elements come down to your essay eventually. But now I want you to have the mindset of what you need to do. I hope you're taking notes. Please feel free. If you have questions, drop them on the comments box. I can't see them now because I'm speaking and I'm sharing my slide. I'll come back to your questions later. Yeah. So next, attend webinars like this that we are having. Very important. Very, very important. I'll give you a story. When I applied for Chevening at 2022, I can't remember. I think one time I didn't even get selected for the interview. I sat down, I started asking myself question, what's wrong? Because I was doing community work, I had a good profile. I was like, what's wrong? Then one of my mentors was having a masterclass, something like this. And I said I was going to join. I said, oh, I'm having a class. You can remind me by this time and I'll add you. And I remembered because he didn't even put it out like this, like I did. I just thought like so many people need this. So let me just put it out. It was a closed door. And I listened. I learned all of these things I'm telling you that I've applied. It has worked for the person. Maybe the person heard from somebody else. The person share. It has worked for me. And I'm sharing with you. Hopefully it works for you. That changed the story. But of course, a lot of other things. So join a lot of webinars. Prepare all your documents. First thing is international passport, your transcript, your school certificates. Get all of this. If you don't have international passport and you're thinking of scholarship, you have not started, go and get your international passport first. Get your transcript second, and then every other thing you can begin because you need that. Those are very important. Make an application. My recommendation will be if you're applying for scholarships, it's important to begin spend. So look, the little of many. So you do little effort. If you say you want to spend the whole day, you'll be overwhelmed. Spend little time, like even if it's 1 hour, 30 minutes every day. It's piling up, it's building. Okay, let me just research the profile of the university. Okay, let me check for alumni. Okay, let me check all of these things. Keep taking notes. When you want to start writing it, you have a lot of resources. I highlighted this a little more earlier, but I think I'll highlight it now. The main things you need. Now, after this, we're going to the more technical parts. So for those who have been waiting for this moment, those were the basics. Now we're going into the more technical parts. How do you structure your SOP? How do you structure your motivation letter, your curriculum vitae, your CV, I mean, your recommendation letters? All of these things, I'm going to show you how you can make it very, very effective. And why I'm saying this is I've been privileged to be a student rep when I was doing my Erasmus Mundus. I have joined the selection board in their selection board meetings, and I have seen how they select, why they select, what they look at, and those are things I'm sharing with you here for free of charge. Okay. Now, somebody mentioned PhDs. If you're applying for PhD, then you need the last one, which is your research proposal. But most scholarships for masters might not request for proposal. A few do. So we may not touch that so much. But the first few ones, we're going to touch them. Motivation letter. Some people ask, what's motivation letter? What's the difference between motivation letter and statement of purpose? Forget all those grammar. Letter or statement of purpose, it is essay. That is what it means. It is an essay for you to convince the selection committee why you are the good fit. That is just what it means. A short essay. Sometimes they tell you 350 words. For those who are applying for Chevening, it used to be 500 words. Now I think it has also been reduced for each of the structures of the essay. But you have my course, my program that I did, it was 350 words for me to convince them. How do I start from my experience, my background, my motivation, why I want the program, why I chose the university, what I will do when I graduate, what do I want to learn when I'm studying? It's a lot. That's why you need to understand the writing skills. Else you will just write a lot of things, but it's rubbish. Or you write too much and you're disqualified. Or you write too little and you miss out on all the points because you're trying to write within the word count. Then the question is, how do I write a lot with few words? How do I make sure that my first sentence is captivating to whoever that is reading my essay? Because if I'm reviewing 100 essays and I look at your essay and the first sentence is already throwing me off, I won't even bother to read the rest because I'm like, this one is waste of my time. I'm telling you, this is how reviewers mark your scholarship essays. So the question is, how do you make sure that the first sentence you write is already captivating? That the person the person is eager to read more because the person knows that, this is one unique one. This is a good one. This is, out of the 20 or 30 I've read, this one I'll read, it is good. How do you want to position yourself to be that good? That is what we're going to talk about next. Your CV, your recommendation letter. Your CV is basically you telling them all about your life in 1 or 2 pages, max. Recommendation letter is who writes for you. You have to make sure whoever writes for you, if they are vouching for you, it depends on who the person is. It should be somebody credible. It depends on what the person say about you. It should be very important and not just vague. The masterclass we're going to have in person, we're going to go deep into this and even see examples of good and bad recommendation letters. Unfortunately, it's just for 20 persons and the slots are filled up. But we're going to talk a little, at least, to cover for this session and your proposal. So next. Okay. Motivation letter. That is the essay I said earlier. The essay, you're trying to convince those people who will use money and fund you for free. Imagine being funded with over 100 million naira to go and study abroad because your parents do not have this money to fund you. My parents don't. I personally don't have that money to fund me. So how do you convince them in a letter that you are worthy of their funding? You have to pay attention. Okay. By the way, I want us to really appreciate those who have put this in place. We have a lot of support from our partners. And one of the major partners who have put this is Africado Foundation, Africado Consulting, Circular Icon Consulting, and EcoCycle. So they have put this possible, they have made this possible for free for you to have access to. So let's appreciate them. So the first thing you need to do, these are pre-planning steps. Pre-planning steps. Don't rush into I've written my essay. No, you will just keep getting love letters. You know what I mean by love letters? Rejections. You need to do pre-planning. The first thing is, I think I did that and it helped me a lot. Sit down, clear your head, and think about everything you have done since from when you started growing. All the education, all the work, all the volunteering, all the impact. You know, I didn't know the importance of this until when I did it. I didn't realize that there were a lot of things I've done in the past that I forgot. And sometimes what helps you is just going through your social media and checking if you've done some work before, some volunteering that you've forgotten. All those things matter when you're writing a scholarship application. So you have to plan. So the first thing is to reflect everything you've done. Volunteering, short courses, work, like everything, I mean everything. Then the next thing is you have to now map it. So you have a lot. So your first rough paper is just keep writing. Your second rough paper is now among all of them, cycle which ones are important. Which ones are important? Again, why are they important? Which ones are related to what you are applying for? Right? Which ones are related to what you're applying for? The next is identify. I'll give an example. Just a few days ago, we had a healthcare outreach to waste workers somewhere in Nigeria. We went, we provided free healthcare, free tests, free medical drugs, free injection, free everything for them, for over 50 workers. We had some volunteers there who just came, one NYC and I think few early career professionals. Now, what they did was they helped with organizing, they helped with taking survey, they helped with, all of these things. If somebody among them, and I'm telling you this to also reflect on things you have done in the past, if somebody among them is applying for a scholarship tomorrow, that is one of their experience. Now, what did they do? They write it down. What was the purpose of that outreach? To support waste workers who are keeping a healthy environment. Are you seeing the connection? Health. So if somebody wants to apply for public health and has such experience, they will say, oh, in 2026, I joined this organization as a volunteer. We provided healthcare support to how many? 50 waste workers and treating malaria, physical health challenges, and this improved their health. Now, if we did survey, we'll have the data. They have the access to the data. They add it. Think about this in that lens. Why did that person mention that experience? Because it related to public health. If the person was applying for an environmental initiative or an environmental scholarship, they will link it to that is we're treating waste workers. Waste management is important for environmental sustainability. Are you seeing the connection? You have to look at it from what am I applying for? What experience am I doing that relate? And don't just bring I've reviewed more than 100 SOPs of people. And when you see some example, they are totally out of what they want to say. But of course, the purpose, when you can bring such kind of experience that do not matter to what you're applying for, is when you look at the university's website and see that they are doing something related. You can even say you are passionate about something like this and you have done something like that. But just like that, you bring something off point. All your examples are off point. There's question mark. So next thing you need to do is, so you've mapped down all your relevant experience, take a break, chill, relax. And then you come back again. And then you now pick. Of course, you can't write everything. You have done so many volunteering. You have done, Mr. Joshua here on the call, we have been volunteering since from University of Abuja. Does he wants to write the one he did? Let's assume he joined 10 clubs right from then, or 20 clubs before he finished university, and then joined like another 10 after university, and then started his own, and then this. It's too much now. You cannot write everything. What you now do is pick the ones that have the highest impact, the ones that you saw transformation. You yourself, you were happy because you joined that project. I'll give you an example. Africado, there was a project they did. They provided ICT for children in slums, training them on health on ICT education. They had volunteers. That volunteer now, because of the impact, those children now, tomorrow, they will be in schools, they will win scholarships like this because of that ICT knowledge they had. And they give feedback. They will be proud to put that. So what I'm saying is, sort the ones that have the highest impact and put it in you're competing, thousands of people applying for that scholarship. You don't want to be writing, I went to share biscuits in a kindergarten, and then everybody ate that biscuit and their stomach is full. When somebody is writing, I developed a web-based solution that helps persons with disability to be able to, or people that have visual impairment to be able to have access to schools, because now the impairment kit helps them to navigate way properly. Think now, which one would they? So think of, I'm not saying you should do something extraordinary. I'm not telling you to jump to the moon, of course, but I'm telling you, within what you've done, right? I'll give an example. There's a lady, we went for Chevening interview together, right? She wasn't selected, but what she did was she went back and continued working. The things she did not do, she did them. The experience she didn't have, she did. This year, she's going to UK. I'm so proud of her. I want you to have that mindset. Once you don't get it, say, okay, what did I not do? What have I not done? Boom. Come back with 4 so that next year now your profile has increased, right? And every scholarship recipient you ask, they have such kind of experience. If you're able to apply this strategy, your chances are higher. I'm sure of that. Guiding questions. So now we're still talking about the letter, right? Your essay, your statement of purpose, right? Your motivation letter. the questions you should have in mind when you're writing this. These are guiding questions for you. Try and keep them if you can. Try and jot them if you can. I'm seeing a lot of chat. Let me see what's happening in the chat box. I'll come back to your questions. Don't worry.
Yes, we have a few questions that persons have been asking.
I see my leader, Mr. Elijah. Okay. Please, we should come back to questions shortly. We're going to have time for questions. So yeah, let's just proceed now. Okay. Guiding questions. So Mr. Elisha was one of my mentors too. So for Shevnin, I'm sure he's here to cheer us up. What problems are you extremely passionate about? Don't forget, somebody who wants to spend 80, 90, 100 million naira on you to go and study for free, they should find a reason that they're investing in you. And that reason is because you share a similar, you're trying to solve a problem that they are passionate about, right? That's why you must have a problem. You can't just come and say, I want scholarship because I want to go and live abroad. I want to Japa. Excuse me, you're wasting your time. But if you want to go because you're really passionate about poverty, you want to help young people create jobs, you don't like poverty, you don't like seeing people suffer, or you don't like seeing people facing health challenges, this is something that pisses you off, you personally have faced it, or maybe not you, your community, all of these things. For me, I was passionate about challenges. I am still passionate about challenges of environment, the pollution people face, the health challenges it affects people, and I see the potential that people can create jobs, that we can have a healthier environment. And over time, I've been demonstrating it. The question is, ask yourself, what is that thing you're passionate about? Clearly write it down. That will help you to go for the scholarship that you are a good fit for. If you are just going left, right, center, left, right, you will end up not getting anyone. So focus on those that are most aligned with what you want. You're not just lying. You're writing something that is you. How have you quantitatively demonstrated your passion? Now, it's not just enough to say, I'm passionate about, or I want to see a world, I want to see the world a better place, or I want to, how? What have you been doing to show that you have been passionate about this thing? If you have never volunteered, if you have never created a solution, you've never even worked in that sector and contributed, how do you want me to believe you? Similarly, how do you want those who are funding you to believe you? So now tell them, because of this, my passion, when I was in high school, I joined these clubs. Even when I graduated, when I was in NYC, I joined this particular CDS. In that CDS, we went to this community, we did this, we helped them to train them on skills because we want to create jobs for young people. Even after that, I went to work in a company that helped create jobs. They teach people livelihood skills, carpentry. I did that. We trained so number of people. Even after that, I came out again. I started something that is creating jobs. Now you are showing that genuine consistency. Now they will believe you. But if you just say, I am passionate about this thing, give me scholarship, they will not believe you. Of course, you didn't give them a reason to believe you. How has your work been validated? Now, this is where you bring, it's not enough because people can lie, right? People can lie. ChatGPT can say, okay, this person, blah, blah, blah. The question is, how do you want them to believe you? You have to show proof. And proof is, maybe you've received some recognition. Maybe you've gotten some certificate of excellence in your organization that you're working. Maybe your work has been published in one media. Maybe you've built a strong social media network because of your engagements. Maybe you've gotten one award. All of these things are ways to validate. Now, when you write all your experience, you're also trying to highlight that because of your work, you have received some achievement, or again, take all these things into your essay. We're weaving them. Now, we're going to where you're going to see how we can weave all of them together. And I will show you a typical example. I created that just for this session of an extract of a motivation letter. so that you can think of how your essay can be in such kind of a format. What specific challenge or problem did you identify? I'll give you an example. When I was applying for Chevening, we kind of created a facility like a truck that can help informal waste workers to collect waste in remote communities. Kadesh is here, he's a team member. We did that together. Now, the challenge we were facing was that it was difficult to push because it was manual, right? And I was like, no. And secondly, it means there was no inclusivity. People, like, for example, imagine somebody with disability, you want to help them create jobs while helping them to solve their environmental problem. They cannot push it now because it's hard. One of my goals, I remember clearly, I stated that I would want to learn the elements of renewable energy components and circularity components so that I can actually improve that that waste collection facility. Why? If it is powered by renewables, it means you will have it easier to move. It's more mobile. So it means everybody can, even person with disability can push. Secondly, if you're using modular, let's say eco-friendly items, it means you're using less materials. It means it's cheaper for people to afford. I clearly stated that. And because there was some part of the course that would teach us that, I applied the theory to my practical experience, and I showed them that I'm not joking. I'm serious. What I'm saying is not abstract. It's not ChatGPT. It is reality. That is how you should think. And now applying it to whatever it is that you're doing. I know you're doing amazing, amazing stuff. Why this specific program? You do your research. You've looked at the university. You look at all the professors. Why do you really want that program? What aligns? So think about that. And then also when you're selected, what do you want to learn? And how will you apply? I just give you an example of how I will apply what I've learned clearly. Don't think too big. Just simple things that you know are realistic. They want to see your originality. They don't want you to be fake. And once you see fake, like if you read plenty essay, but if you see fake one, this one, they are just speaking grammar. Who do you want to become in 30 years' time? They want to see that who they are investing their money in is not somebody that would end up entirely just changing, maybe for example, changing field entirely and doing something else. They won't see that they're investing in somebody who will become very productive to humanity. Are you showing them that you want to be that kind of person? Okay. I'm also looking at time so that we can come to questions. I hope you're finding this very, very useful. Some persons are saying they are unable to join. I don't know why. I don't know why. And I think this has been working for everyone. Okay, I hope they're able to sort it out and join. Yeah, so let's proceed. Now, I want to talk about storytelling, which is also very, very important. Storytelling. You are trying to convince somebody that does not know you in an essay. You might have a very sweet talk, sweet mouth. You might talk better than me. You might be very eloquent. You might have all this experience, but if you don't put it in that essay, you lose the
We
attention.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so yeah. So you might, if you don't put all of those things in that essay, you might lose their attention. And that's the purpose of storytelling. Storytelling can give you or deny you a scholarship, no matter how good your profile is. But here are some tips to guide you on storytelling. I have looked at other frameworks, but again, I just kind of modified this. So you look at it from the point of situation, task, action, impact, lessons learned / the gap you have identified. What was happening? Now, let's say you're applying for a master's in public health under Erasmus Mundus to go and study in Spain, Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. Yes, Erasmus allows you to study in at least 3 countries within the 2 years period. You want to talk about one experience that you had when you were volunteering during your NYSC. You want to talk about one experience you had during your NYSC. And what was happening? You, or maybe even when you were growing up, you grew up in Lungu, like myself, and, malaria was just a common visitor. It was always an issue. And that was one of your key motivation when you were a child. Like, no, I have to make sure I find solution. In overseas now, malaria is not a big problem. It's only a problem in Africa, in I think other developing countries. How can I stop malaria in Nigeria or Africa or in developing countries? Why is it that we cannot stop it here? Maybe that is your passion. And then you're trying to explain the situation of how you got exposed to malaria, how it affected you as a child. Then the task. Perhaps you volunteered in one NGO as a health support or as a volunteer, like the one I just gave you an example. Now, that is the task about what was it that was needed. Now you guys needed to do some healthcare support to help people who have been affected and also to test them. Now, just know that the person who is reading your essay does not know anything about it. That you have to write in a way that anybody who look at it understand where you're coming from and where you're going to. Not just, you can just start and then you stop, or you just start, blah, blah, blah. No, try to flow. So now you have spoken about why you are interested in malaria. You're going to say what you guys did. You're trying to provide them healthcare. Why? So that they can, or maybe you're trying to do some tests for them so that you can provide them with medication in order to make them more malaria resilient. But of course, what did you do as a person? You joined the research team, and you helped to do this for patients. You had to test them, for example. Next, what was the impact? How many people did you eventually do? That's how you should write your story and not jump from heaven to heaven and the person is confused. What is this person even saying? Be very specific. Who, what, where, when, how, all these things, have them at the back of your head. What did you gain at the end of the day? What was the gap? The gap is that, for example, maybe you notice that, now this is something that you have to be in the field to know. That's why you cannot lie. You notice that people that come for this healthcare are mostly old people. Young people do not like to come. And then you begin to ask yourself, why? Is that they are shy? Is that they don't have malaria? Is it that they have money? You now begin to do your questions and answers. That might lead you to the point on maybe you realize that young people have less malaria exposure. Maybe it could be that their immune system, you could do some digging, now this shows that you are original. Can you see what I'm saying? From the volunteering you did, you identified a gap and you start asking questions. That is what they are looking for. Not you that will just come and say, I did this, I that, please give me scholarship. From there, maybe your research point in the PhD or master's will even be that you want to look at the malaria infectious or the malaria resistance amongst or between different demography. The reason for that is because of the volunteering you did, you identified a gap and you did some survey, you find out that young people were less exposed and old people were. That could be something very new. Even me, if I have money and you tell me something like this and I feel like there's an originality, I will fund you. Think that way. Okay, next slide. I think we will be doing a bit more rushing now, I think, so that we can have some time for Q&A. Interestingly, I'm going to share this with you later. I've documented all of my experience into a book. All these things I'm telling you, I've made it very detailed. Hopefully, we should be launching it soon. We should be, pre-order should be out. So I think if you're interested, you can also reach out, and you can have more access to that. It's all my own way of seeing how I can keep and document my own experience to enable other people utilize it and benefit from it. Okay. This is, I call it the iteration loop. all of what we've said, now you want to write your essay with all the experience we have discussed, we have gathered. How do you go about it? After you've made your research, you've made whatever thing we've discussed previously, now you write your drafts. This one, use your head. I wrote it clearly, use your head. Don't use ChatGPT. Use your head and write it one by one, every sentence by sentence, and flow based on all the structure we have discussed. Your research, your writing, and then you write. So once you're done, the next thing you do, take a break. Take a break, relax. Why? Because the more you relax, the more your brain, when you come back that essay, now you start to see so many things that were error. Then you now start rearranging. Okay, next is, I'm telling you, writing essay is as difficult as you can imagine, and it's as easy as you can imagine. When I mean difficult is because there are a lot of things you need to do before you write. When I mean easy, because once you do all those things, it becomes very easy. But if you don't do them, wahala. And you might just see failure, and you're like, why am I not getting this scholarship? So just take the pain and do the process once and do it religiously. The next is review your draft in line with requirements. That is to say, once you've written your draft, you've looked at it, you've corrected it, go back to all those requirements in the scholarship and all those ones that you have seen that you picked from the website that was not mentioned clearly, but you because of your research, you noted down, you observe, this one important, you bring it down, put your essay on ChatGPT, put all of the requirements that you have written down and tell ChatGPT, help me review my essay with the requirements. What is missing? ChatGPT will now you're using ChatGPT as a reviewer, not something to write your essay. ChatGPT would help you to tell you, okay, Mr. Richard Abba, you didn't, the scholarship is interested in somebody who has done this, who has done that, but you didn't put that. Okay, you spoke about this, but you missed this side. This helps you to have points to come back to your essay and redraft based on the point that ChatGPT has recommended that you are missing. Use your head again and rewrite it. Then the next point would be get as many feedbacks from scholars as possible. Try to reach out to them early. They are very busy. Of course, I know what it means that I left just to make sure we have this together, like this call and this masterclass. So they're very busy. So try to reach out to them early and let them know and try to make the work. When they see that you've put in the work, they're happy to support you and read and make feedbacks. But if you haven't done anything, you just write rubbish and send to them, they will also be disappointed. The energy they will put will be very low. So you decide how you want them to review your essay, and then you make the draft again. So you just use this iteration loop until you have a very, very, very solid structure of an essay that would help you to win a scholarship. To wrap up the motivation letter, okay. So be authentic, like be yourself, like don't lie. Minimize as much words as any sentence that or any word that is not important. Remove it. Ask yourself, what's the best way I can say this thing with the fewest words as possible? Hi, Moses Oga, I see you. Connect everything like a network. So you're not just doing block. You're flowing, right? Your experience, why you are interested in this thing, why you really want the scholarship. What is it that you did that made you think that this scholarship is good? What will you even do when you get to the scholarship? What will you learn? What will you come back? How will you apply it? So you can see there's a connection, there's a flow. That's how you should look at it. Keep it concise. Avoid jargons. Make your story the best. Proofread and revise your essay. Get feedbacks. Tailor everything. So I think that's a summary. And then I made a promise that I was going to share you a quick sample. I had to create this. So feel free to use it as a template, but of course, it's not the best. Like I told you, I created it. Nobody has this story. I created this story to make you see how an SOP should look like. And we can look at it. Malaria took much away of my happiness as a child. You're capturing the attention of who is reading it. I lost a sibling to the disease. And by the time I reached adulthood, I've been treated for malaria more than 50 times. Now you're shown why your malaria is your problem. Now, this experience has been your driving force behind a lifelong commitment to improving public health. I see now you're showing why you are interested in public health. And then this also inspired you to study biology, and then blah, blah, blah. You emerged top in your class or top two. And eventually, during your undergraduate, you did some volunteering in a malaria group, volunteering group. And what were you? You acted as an outreach officer. You did this. You helped with outreach. You mentioned the communities. You mentioned the number of persons, that you impacted. You mentioned that even your curiosity led you to even do another. I seen the flow of how your story is connecting. That you met Professor Japalo, you did this. Also mention names. Don't just write things abstract. You helped with collecting 500 blood samples for malaria in this community. I seen the flow. After graduation, you were unemployed, but you volunteered more. Eventually, you co-authored 3 scientific publications. You're flowing. This is just one aspect. This is not an entire SOP, but this is basically a kind of a template of how you should write. Like very connected, very specific. You give your point, you give your data, like flow very clearly, simple. Don't use big grammar. Just use simple grammar that are connecting and saying what you're saying. CV. Yeah, this is just this is what's it called? So for CV, I know we wouldn't have a lot of time to go deep. But of course, the elements you should have in your CV are one, a profile summary. That is or is not necessarily required, but just try to look at it that your CV is within 2 pages. People don't like a lot of CV. Academic qualifications. That's like the next session because you're applying for a scholarship. There is difference between a work CV and a scholarship CV. That's what you should know. Research experience and publications, if you have any, very important. If you do not have, it could even be your blogs that you've written about a particular topic. What they want to see is your writing skills, right? Work and volunteering experience. Have you worked somewhere? Have you volunteered somewhere? Tell about it, and not just tell about it. Talk, what did you do particularly, and not just the ones that you're like, I helped pack files, I helped to put fuel in the engine. No, you're talking about the impact ones you did. I assisted with a community outreach to train 30 people on entrepreneurship. I fostered, or let's say I improved the website of the company to become AI, interface enabled. So more of what you do in a more impactful way rather than in a more activity way. Conferences and workshops, professional membership, skills and competencies, as well as awards. All of these things are elements of a CV. It's not all written here because it's also like a whole long explanation on its own, which is going to take us a lot. But like I mentioned earlier, this is also, I think I've documented that in details in my upcoming book. Feel free to reach out to me, like I said. If you want to pre-order once it's out, I'll be happy to, and I'll be happy for you to have access to it. Yeah, I think we would come back to questions. I tried to finish on time so that we can discuss Q&A. Fortunately, this has been, I think we've had more than 1 hour. We will have the in-person masterclass. Like I mentioned, that is already limited, where we would go, like again, do more about what we've just done. So I would pause here. Of course, feel free to connect with me. I'm on all social media. I'll drop my LinkedIn shortly. Now I'll come back. I'll have to stop my sharing, and I'll come back to get your Q&A, and then we can discuss more in the next few minutes. So yeah. So where do we start from, Kadesh?
Okay, yeah, I asked some persons to tag me, and there have been some questions that I have been tagged. So I can read them out to you when you're ready.
I'm ready, please. We can just start quickly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Okay. So there's this question. I'll just read the question directly without reading the essay that the person wrote. It says, I am currently a computer science engineering undergraduate, but I share a lot of passion for sustainability and relevant volunteer and program-based experience. Do you think I remain eligible for MESPOM despite my academic background? That's one. His second question is, I would love your MESPOM specific application and interview tips.
Okay, quick response. So MESPOM does not do interview. MESPOM is mainly dependent on your essay and your CV. So that's why you need to put a lot of effort to that. Secondly, for MESPOM, they have a very high, I think, CGPA. So you need to check that. And if you meet the MESPOM CGPA requirements, if you're talking about your academic background and what you want to do now, you have to just make sure that there's some alignments, or you can convince them why you are, because MESPOM is multidisciplinary. I had classmates who studied we had somebody who even did Chinese studies actually, who was in MESPOM. So I think it's open. All you need to do is to convince them that you are worthy of their investment. Yeah. So I hope I answer your question. Please, let's go.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Okay,
you.
someone say, can you kindly talk about use of artificial intelligence in scholarship application?
Okay, I'll talk about that quickly. So the use of artificial intelligence, I think the person missed that aspect. We talk about that quickly. Do not write your essay with artificial intelligence. That is, I would say, ChatGPT for now. All you can only is best and is most recommended to write the first draft with your head. What I would recommend you to use ChatGPT for is ask it to review your work. Put in all the requirements that the scholarship puts on their website and say, ChatGPT, compare my essay with the requirements and paste both of them. And it will give you feedbacks. Use those feedbacks and improve your essay. Lastly, you can use ChatGPT and say, help me review and check for any corrections or typing errors on my essay. These are the two things I would recommend you to use ChatGPT. Any other thing, use your head. Next question, please.
Okay, let me just read this. I couldn't figure out the question. I'm sorry. I know we are not discussing undergraduate scholarships in this program, but an important question. I run an organization that supports students with scholarship, and I've noticed that undergraduate students often struggle to secure scholarships. What advice will you give them to improve their chance of winning scholarships? That is for undergraduate students.
Okay, can you just say the question again?
He says, what advice will you give to undergraduate students to improve their chance of winning scholarship?
Oh, wow. Really good question. The person that asked this question, I'm really serious. I would recommend you to get the book I just mentioned, because personally, I think I wrote a lot about my life in university as an undergraduate student, and I wrote a lot about things you can prepare for even before you graduate. But in summary, one is join a lot of clubs that relate to your passion. Two is join other extracurricular activities. Three is build relationship with some of your professors that can be your reference and provide recommendation letters for you when you want to apply for scholarships. Four is try to perform very well academically and finish with good grades. Five is, even before you graduate, try to join other activities outside of school walls. Join volunteering in other NGOs, in companies, whatever it is outside of the university. I think these are things that can help you very well. And I wish everybody knew this even before they're graduating from university. Yeah, next question, please. Yeah, I just dropped my social handle, so we can connect on LinkedIn for anyone who wants to. Yeah, Kadesh, please go on.
Okay, this question is from Ibrahim Adam. He says, okay, I have a BSc in computer science with second class upper.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Kadesh.
Okay, this person is asking, is it possible to have a master's scholarship option fully funded with monthly stipends for an English major, I think?
Of course, that's what we're talking about. That is what we are talking about. I mean, for an Erasmus Mundus, you get fully funded and you get monthly stipend over €1,000. So that's what we're talking about. That's why we're having this masterclass. Next question.
Okay, this person, he said that he is transitioning um food food science and technology to environmental science, natural resource management, and sustainability. He has applied before, but he got a scholarship but couldn't continue. He's asking if that could limit his chance since he's transitioning. He said, could my transition from food science to environmental sustainability be perceived as an academic mismatch? That's his
No.
question.
So, yeah. Okay, I see my leader, my mentor, Mr. Elijah, also making some response and feedback on the group. So it's not any academic will I say academic betrayal. It's not. All you need to do is connect it. Food science. I did some papers on food waste. You have the part of food science is about post-storage harvest, post-storage losses, the environmental implications of food production. You need to now connect something related to that food to the environmental aspect of what you're doing, and then you justify why you're transitioning. So it's not bad at all. Let's go. Next question.
Okay. This question is asking, in writing my motivation letter, how do I align work experience with scholarship requirement?
Sorry, how do I what?
Align work experience with scholarship requirement in writing motivation letter or letter of motivation.
I don't know if the person joined early because we discussed about this. You map out all your experience first of all, check those that are very important to what you're applying for, pick them, and then now tell the story of it. You're not telling everything. You're picking those that are very important. I think we discussed this very well. You're picking those that are very important and connecting it to the scholarship, depending on the scholarship you're applying for. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just read this. I studied estate management, but been in industry for a long time. I convene a master's initiative that has mentored over 50 young professionals and students across Africa. The mentorship has partnered with a multinational organization to make initiative a global movement. Our mentors are from across Europe. Now, how do I connect all those to Chevening and UK initiatives in Nigeria? He's asking how does he connect all his estate management, industry, and mentorship initiatives? How does he convene or join all of that for his application for Chevening?
Absolutely. That is a very, very impressive Chevening profile. And what you do is for Chevening, they have the leadership, the networking, the study in UK essay, and the post-study essay. So for your leadership, your mentorship session is a very good example in your leadership essay. You're trying to talk about why did you start it? It should be about leadership, trying to build, a group, a young generation of, some things you're working on. And then what has been the impacts? Speak about the impact. And then now show it as a way you're trying to build a community. That is way of showing that you're a leader. While for your estate management experience, you're trying to put it in your study in the UK. Why did you choose the course you choose? Because you studied this course, you identified a gap in this field, in a particular niche area, and you're studying this course because it helps you to acquire this skill and this knowledge. And when you're done, this is what you're going to come back and apply that knowledge in solving. So you section it particularly because you're going for sharing, that has a section. But for other essays, they're usually at once. Then you have to now try to connect everything together if it's an essay. I hope I answer your question. Next question, please.
Okay. This question is asking, how do we determine whether to use a standard academic CV or a Europass CV for scholarship application? That's one. Then the second question is, what is the best approach?
Thank you.
Can I
So,
repeat?
yeah, can you repeat again, please? One more.
So how do we determine whether to use a standard academic CV or a Europass CV for scholarship applications.
Okay. So to respond to that, if you're applying for Erasmus Mundus, it's highly recommended you use the Europa CV. It's easy, just learn how to use it. Go to YouTube. If you're applying for Chevening, do not use Europass. Use the normal CV. There are a lot of templates online. Do not use Europa CV. That's because Erasmus Mundus is European Union. Chevening is UK government. If you're applying for like that and other scholarship, just use the normal format. So don't use European Union to go and apply for German CV. They will feel, now like everybody has pride. So that's what I would say. Or just use the normal CV formats, which there are a lot of them online. But don't forget, try to make it 2-page, except for Europass. Europass could be more because the way the format is, it can be 3, 4, 5. But any other CV, try to keep it 2. Yeah. Next question, please.
Okay. My question is about cold emails to professors and researchers in the target university or institution. What is it all about in summary, and can someone looking for MSc scholarship send such? This person is asking about cold emails to professors in the school that they may be looking to apply. So what is this cold email about? Can they send it if they're applying for scholarship?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are not doing a PhD masterclass because cold emails are mostly for PhDs. But just to summarize, it's basically you sending emails to professors that align with what you want to study, requesting if they can be your supervisor. So you have to really dig deep and check their profile and see if, okay, this is the supervisor I want to work with. And then from there, you can, luckily, so for example, I got a supervisor because I found his profile. It was doing the work I was doing. What I wanted to do was what he did, and I think he was a very good potential fit supervisor. And I reached out, and eventually, luckily, he is now my supervisor. Yeah. So yeah. So that's what you can do. Next question, please.
Okay. This person runs an initiative called Girls and Books to improve girls' access to reading materials. So she wants to develop a simple digital platform or app that could help track the books in each box. So her question is, the question is, for scholarship program that supports education, technology, and social impact, how can I position this idea as a strong scholarship or research proposal rather than just an NGO project?
Can you say again, please?
Okay, she runs an initiative called Girls and Books, where they use physical library boxes to improve girls' access to reading materials. So she's asking, how can she, for scholarship program, how can that support education, technology, and social impact? How can she position this idea of an initiative that support girls' access to books? How can she position that idea as a strong scholarship or research proposal rather than just an NGO project?
So this is it. Your NGO or your impact initiative is not what you should leverage on to apply for a scholarship. It is what you use to demonstrate the impact you're making in community to support your application. You should have an academic area of interest. And that depends on what did you study in undergraduate? What professional area have you been working on? If your NGO is related to what you studied and what you want to study, let's say education generally, then of course you want to look at your educational impact initiative or book reading or literacy or linguistic, or you look at it from the academic aspect. But of course, you are not saying that you want to do a PhD or a master's scholarship for, let's say, book distribution. No, but you want to basically look at it in a bigger picture. What is the academic aspect of it? And while you're now explaining your motivation, you can now add it that it was because of this NGO impact that you were doing that made you identify or develop interest to study, let's say, masters in community development. or something like that. Well, of course, I wouldn't know what you want to study, but just look at it from that logic of, because I did this over the years, I identified this gap, and maybe that's why I want to do this, and this is a focus, and maybe let's say, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, can academic grade hinders one's chances of securing scholarship, despite the fact that one can be good? Can academic grade hinders one's chances of securing scholarship, despite the fact that one can be good? Your mic is muted.
So the truth is, sometimes it could, yes. But like I said, it depends on the scholarship, and you have to look for the fits, right? I mentioned earlier, Chevening, for example, my Oga here, Oga Elisha can testify to that. They don't care whether you have third class, just have the leadership impact. Like the person who spoke about, NGO and impact, you're a good profile. The person who spoke about mentorship, you're a good profile, whether you have third class or not. But if, for example, you want to apply for, let's say, Erasmus, maybe like a particular program, Kadesh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. But if, for example, you want to apply for like Erasmus or a particular program, and let's say they are telling you that the CGPA is required is so 3 points, so, then you know that is already a hindrance. So you just look at, there's always a scholarship for everybody. Just look at which one am I fit and focus on that one. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Let me just read it out. I'm a graduate of Islamic Studies Education with second class lower, willing to pursue my master's in Islamic Economic or Islamic Banking and Finance. Please give me an advice. That's quite broad.
Yeah, advice, I don't know, but everything we said on this call is actually an advice. I don't know, but yeah, just try to maybe watch this session again. And so long as you're passionate about it, please go for it. Put in all your energy. Yeah.
Okay. Another person asked, how can they get like the record of this after the session?
No worries. I'll definitely share it so long as you registered. We have all your emails and we'll send it to you.
Okay. Someone is asking if it is possible to join the physical class online. That is the physical class that is for 20 people, that they are very far from Abuja. Is it possible for them to join online?
Unfortunately, that is already closed. Yeah, it's closed. Registration is closed. I wish we were doing like the online part of it, but that will just be because there are a lot of things we'll be sharing physically, so maybe that might not be possible. But hopefully another time. Like I said, I've tried to like put all of these things in a book, so also it's something you can have access to. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay, another question. I want to apply MESPOM. Do I need English test?
No, MESPOM. So long as you're from, and so now, okay, let me be clear. So long as you are from, if you're from Nigeria, you don't need. But if you're from some specific countries, that English is not your first language, you might need. So that would be for you to go to the MESPOM website and check if your country is suitable for. But for Nigeria, you do not need.
Okay, I have a question. I have 5 years plus in field supervision experience with an international NGO. Which university is the best for me?
Sorry, say what?
This person have 5 years plus in field supervision experience with an international NGO. They're asking which university is the best for them.
It's not about the university, it's about what you want to study. And then you look for the university and department that has all of those things that you find useful. But I think that is already a good profile. So you have a good chance. Yeah. Please, I've dropped the link. So this has been organized also by Cycler Icon Consulting. Please try to just click and follow the page and also my page. Hopefully we'll continue to organize stuff like this and drop useful information. Yeah, please try to follow. Please, this is my request. All right, next question.
Okay. This person said, I'm a past recipient of Russian fully funded scholarship. Could my study in Russia limit my chance of getting European or UK scholarship due to the
No,
political situation?
no, it doesn't. I had classmates who were Russian, so it doesn't. It doesn't. Just hold on. Let me just quickly put up this survey so people can just also Kadesh, please can you just drop the link on the of the survey? That would be very helpful, please. Yes, so please, if we would want to have your feedback quickly. I would really appreciate if everyone can just either scan with your phone if you're using your laptop, or the link will be dropped. Kadesh, can you drop it, please? Or the link to the survey is just to get your feedback to know if you find this useful. I would really be happy to see that a lot of people find it useful, and that's why I'm trying to get your feedback. Yes, please. So maybe just 1-2 minutes. It's less than 10 seconds, you'll be done. Please just fill it quickly, or you can actually yeah, so just try and finish up, then we can continue with the questions for the next few minutes and wrap up. Yep. Please just let me know if you do. Maybe you can just indicate with thumbs up, please. This is the only way I can know that you found this useful or not, because there's a lot of people, so I can't follow through. You can click or scan. Should we proceed? Kadesh, should we proceed or not yet?
Let's see. I mean, give them 1 more minute to maybe
Okay,
click.
yeah. Yes, please do. Thank you. You can also copy the link and just do it, but it's easy to forget. So please just do it now. And we're done, and then we can just wrap up the next parts. Kadesh, somebody said you should reshare link, please. So we had a lot of people who showed interest. Okay, thank you so much. So while we continue, you can continue to fill the link. Please, the next question. Yes, Kadesh, next question.
Okay. Okay. Let me read this. Please, you can just tag me in your question so that I'll be able to find it more easier. So let me read this. I'm a graduate of physics electronics with interest in space physics for a postgraduate studies. I do not have much experience in the space physics. How can I get work experience in this area?
Can you say again?
The person is a graduate of physics electronics with interest in space physics for a postgraduate studies. I do not have much experience in this space physics. How can I get a work experience in this area?
So the best bet is start with internships. Even if it's for free, just do it, get the experience, do more, volunteer, take short courses, go to LinkedIn, join LinkedIn, connect with people who are already doing that, reach out to them, ask them how you can volunteer, let them make recommendations for you in terms of where you can actually go and do internship. I think start from there. Yeah. So once you get into one, you already have the experience, use it to get the next one. You have double experience like that. So just start from the barest, and the best way is reach out to people who are already in that field. Next question.
Okay, this person want to transit from microbiology to public health, and they're asking, should sending a professor a mail to request for supervision add to their chance of getting the scholarship?
Sorry?
They are transitioning from microbiology to public health, so they're asking if, and they're applying for chevening. asking if sending a professor their research interests, sending the professor sending the professor a mail to request for his supervision, would it add their chance of getting the scholarship?
For Chevening?
Yes.
Nah. So Chevening, you're applying for the university to give you admission while you're applying for the scholarship separate. So there are two separate things. For masters, you don't need to get a supervisor. It's not only for PhD, so you don't need to do that. I would advise the energy you want to use to look for a supervisor for masters to apply for Chevening, use it to check for a professor that is a very good fit, that you want to learn something from, and add it as part of the reason why you want to go and study in that university in your essay. That is the only wise thing to do. Yeah. Next question.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, this person is a Bachelor of Pharmacy graduating student. Okay, let me just read it out. Some questions are not that itemized. I'm a Bachelor of Pharmacy graduating student aiming to apply for Masters in Addiction Science or Masters in Public Health. Given my academic background, will any of these two programs be considered an academic mismatch? Again, if I organize a team remotely in my country of Liberia to perform some addiction or public health related outreach, would that be considered a genuine work and leadership?
Quick response to that and other similar questions like that. I think, Alish, we have about 5 minutes to wrap up. We're already 5 minutes past time. So quick question is, whatever transition you're doing, even if it's not similar to what you studied, just try to find the connecting points. I gave a typical example. If you're doing food systems or food science and you want to go into environment, you want to look at the food aspect that is related to environment. Let's say food contamination. Let's say food, maybe climate change impact on food. Then you link it to environment. You can see there's a connection. But if there's no connection, it's sometimes difficult. So try to find a connection. So I think that responds to any similar type of questions. Yeah. Please, let's go next. And we might not be able to answer all the questions again because of time. So yeah, but let's try what we can do. We have like 5 minutes and we can wrap up. Yeah. But you can always go back to the video and watch. So that's fine.
Okay. Let me see. I can't see the full message here. Yes. Okay, this person have 9 years experience working in hospital and community pharmacy, and they're wondering if their skills and experience are suitable for scholarship and what kind of scholarship would they be eligible for? They have 9 years experience. Yeah, what kind of scholarship would they be eligible for with their 9 years experience in the health sector?
They're eligible for all scholarships, both the Erasmus, the Chevening. Yeah, it's just for them to, I mean, 9 years of experience is a lot of experience. So it depends on what is the 9 years experience about, where did they work, what have they done. So it's eligible for all scholarships. I think they should just put in their effort and yeah. Ramat said she had a question but was not read. Can you just paste the question again, please, so that we can try to justify all questions?
Okay. Yeah, I think this person, Ramatu Ibrahim, she said, can I get an opportunity to speak and ask my questions? Though I had typed it earlier, but Kadesh did not read it the way I wanted it. She typed a message earlier, but I didn't read it the way she wanted it.
Yeah, so sorry, Rama, we are a bit running out of time, and but Kadesh, is there any other question so that we can see if Rama can speak and then we close? Any specific question?
There's some others that
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So
Someone asks.
Yes, please go on.
Okay, someone asks, how do we best approach the question that is commonly asked in scholarship essays? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or beyond? They said, how do they best approach that question? Where do you see yourself?
Really good question. So my simple advice, again, like I said, our mentor, Mr. Elisha, might write something on the group, but my advice would be real to yourself. Ask yourself genuinely, what do I want to be doing based on this track that I've taken?